What's up guys, welcome to Let's Play Sengoku Basara 3! Alright, I am so excited about this guys, we're finally here at last. We conquered the HD collection, we're moving on to a brand new game, and a brand new engine. Look at all these playable characters we have now. The first one we're going to be playing as is Ieyasu Tokugawa, and this is the English version of the game called Sengoku Basara Samurai Heroes. So I can no longer skip or talk over cutscenes anymore, so I'm going to let this play out and I'll continue my explanation there.
Unity. There is nothing more powerful than the will of people, united for a cause. Hideyoshi Toyotomi, if you continue to try and force your will upon this land, I will stop you. This land will be joined by the bonds of peace.
Die in the name of Lord Hideyoshi.
Through the bonds made between warriors, we will know peace again.
It was a dream to unite the country. A dream envisioned by a young lord named Ieyasu Tokugawa. After losing in battle to the forces of Lord Hideyoshi, Ieyasu was forced to resign his efforts to unify the lands. Meanwhile, Hideyoshi had taken control of the country. He planned to expand his kingdom with complete disregard to the innocent lives he would destroy. Ieyasu objected, and with the intention of ruling the country himself, defeated Hideyoshi. However, there was still one man who stood in Ieyasu's way. Mitsunari Ishida, a subordinate of Hideyoshi, was enraged by his lord's defeat and swore revenge. This marked the beginning of a battle that would split the country, Ieyasu being the general of the East and Mitsunari the general of the West. As the inevitable war approached, Ieyasu set out to meet with a group of mercenaries known as the Saika faction in hopes of forming an alliance.
Tell me, are the men
Alright,
ready
so
for
the
action?
formula for Sengoku Basara 3 is going to be very different from what we saw in the previous games on the HD collection. So, we're going to have a hero story mode very similar to Basara 2 and 2 Heroes, but it is actually combined with features of the Conquest mode from the very first game. So, back to that good old RNG, guys. We're going to be going up against random opponents. To an extent, there are certain fixed storyline battles for every character, but I have a little bit of leeway with which characters I want to go up against, and the amount of variables that can impact the story in this game are absolutely huge. We'll talk about those when we get to one. So right now I have a couple of options as to which battle I can go to. I want to adjust my setup really quick here. Ieyasu uses his fists to attack, so we can look at all of our secondary attacks right there. We don't have to pick and choose between them as they are bound to different buttons this time around as opposed to the same button. So right now we only have one battle against this one opponent right here. But other times there'll be forked paths where you can choose the opponent you want to face, and that can permanently impact the story and the progression of the plot in each route. So you can play the same hero story mode as the same character a second time and get a completely different result. And we'll talk about that as we go. So the story of Basara 3. So you guys saw the opening cutscene there, where Ieyasu, who was allied himself with the highest bidder as he usually does, finally turned his back on Hideyoshi and killed him. So that's basically how Basara 2's arc ended. Any parallels I'll be making to the anime this time around are going to be made to the movie Sengoku Basara: The Last Party, and the anime adaptation of this game called Sengoku Basara Judge End. So if you guys are not familiar with those series, I'll be spoiling them, so I'll probably say a spoiler warning before I address any of that. And if you've not finished Season 1 of 2 of Basara Samurai Kings, the good series, then I will be spoiling those as well. So definitely keep that in mind as we go. So the frame rates don't hold up quite as well on this one, being that it's not an upscale of the original. But it still looks really good. The graphics are pretty good. Now we're actually running on a game whose engine is designed for the PS3. And Ieyasu certainly grew up in those years, because not only did he get less shrimpy and weak and less of a coward, but now he's huge, buff, and swole. And he's so strong he's going to go punch the enemy with a fist of righteous justice. So Ieyasu's whole thing is the bonds that bind our people together. For those of you that don't know who Ieyasu is in historical reference, he's actually the man that successfully unified the warring states and brought about a new era in Japan's culture. So he is one of the most, if not the most influential person in the entire franchise when it comes to real Japanese history. He is an unbelievably prolific character. But his portrayal in Basara is nothing less than ridiculous, as all Basara portrayals are, as he runs around punching other samurai and these guys that have guns. So we're going up against the Saika faction in this level, which is a new character introduced for Basara 3, Magoichi Saika, and her mercenaries that are all essentially guns for hire. So they must have, I'm assuming that these are Westerners that came to Japan during the Warring States era of the Sengoku War, and brought firearms with them. So most of Magoichi Saika's soldiers are going to have firearms instead of swords, although there will be a few sword users here and there. So, of course, Basara has to go completely over the top and ridiculous with this, just like they did with the other firearm-wielding characters in the series, like Lady no Hime, and give us characters with freaking miniguns, machine guns, shotguns, things that definitely did not exist back then, in addition to your normal muzzle-loading rifles and pistols. So, I want to talk a little bit about the gameplay mechanics of Basara 3. So, as I said, the secondary attacks, or arts as I'm going to be calling them in this game, are bound to different buttons. So if I tap triangle while standing still, Ieyasu will thrust his fist forward and send that beam of energy shooting out of it. But if I hit triangle while moving, he'll do like that uppercut attack. So that's something to keep in mind. His normal punching combo goes for a pretty long time, and you can actually you can hold down the square button during his normal punching combo, and you can charge up some of his individual punches if you wanted to slow down his combo and makes each hit a little bit more brutal. But I'll be demonstrating that a little bit later. I won't use that a whole lot during this first fight here. I don't want to overwhelm you guys. So as we unlock more secondary abilities for these guys, they will be bound to different buttons. So there's a demonstration of his Basara attack there, which is very good. Ieyasu hits like a truck and has a lot of health, so he's overall a very good character. He's up there with Keiji in terms of raw power, but his attacks don't always have the same amount of reach to them. Another new feature of Basara 3 is the sprint feature, which is incredibly handy. You double tap the analog stick forward, and your character starts sprinting, which is incredibly handy. This map has a lot of traps and stuff hidden around it. It has a lot of landmines and tripwire, which can cause like logs and other traps to come down on you. Ieyasu's aerial attack, like I said, was that elbow ground pound, almost wrestling move we saw there, and you can charge that as well. I charged that in midair for that ground pound against that guy with the minigun. So a very important detail about Basara 3 is how the command posts work. So each command post has a enemy commander or a camp commander that occupies it. This is a command unit just like the ones we fought in the previous games, except you have to defeat them in order to conquer that camp. And the enemy can take back camps from you. So there are alternate losing conditions in this game compared to in the previous games. And if we come to a boss, you'll see some stars over their head that show you how many camps that enemy faction controls.
Your own death or the shame of defeat.
Hello, hello.
Either way, know that there is nothing we fear. Nothing at all. We are the Saika faction. Prepare to face us if you dare.
Magoichi Saika. Man, I love her design. She is quite the babe, and I am not even sorry. So, yeah, I love Magoichi Saika. She's a great new addition to the series, who unfortunately did not get a chance to show up in the movie at all. But basically the first battle for either Ieyasu or Mitsunari, respectfully, is going to be up against Magoichi Saika, where they're going to try to earn her alliance, because she is essentially just a gun for hire. She doesn't really have a motive of her own, so it makes sense to try to gain her alliance. That's what we're doing in this first video, is trying to gain the alliance of Magoichi Saika before we move on to strengthening the Eastern Army. So Ieyasu controls the Eastern Army, Mitsunari controls the Western Army, and we're constantly vying for different armies of the Sengoku era to join up with us before we fight an all-out battle at Sekigahara. So, depending on who we ally with and which battles we choose can not only impact our own forces, but our enemy's forces as well at Sekigahara. So right here I'm going to try to kill this camp commander and take over this command post. Every time you take over a command post, it sends this huge explosion which can boost up your combo meter exponentially to like several hundred hits as it blows away every enemy around you, which is an awesome, very fluent animation. It adds a lot to the combat sandbox of the Basara 3 engine games. I'm going to be picking up a little bit of health over here because Magoichi's kicking my ass. These level 1 fights at the very beginning of each hero story are very challenging, and I actually went through this way too quick. And as you can see, the enemy has taken back a lot of the command posts that I've already captured. So, as a result, Magoichi is stronger now. As you can see, she has about 5 stars over her head, so I'm going to have my luck cut out for me trying to defeat her. So another new feature about Basara 3, as you can see, the enemy bosses can use their Basara attack now, and that's huge. And it's downright terrifying as well, so good luck dodging that. Of course, we can actually block it, and we can get out of the way, so you're going to see me do a lot of crazy dodges to get out of the way of those enemy Basara attacks quite a bit throughout the game. So, like I said, I've got my work cut out for me to defeat Magoichi at this current low level. But anyway, I was saying a little bit about the Eastern and Western armies. So depending on who you defeat and who you choose to ignore can impact the armies for not only yourself but also for the Western army when we finally get to Sekigahara. So every Sekigahara fight is going to be different. One thing you want to be careful about, obviously I'm at a very low health right now, so I'm going to have to get some more health in order to defeat her, but her Basara gauge increases exponentially when I'm using my Basara attack against her, so that damage output was... it was a give and take, definitely. I'm really low on health, so I gotta be careful here. One of the things that makes Magoichi Saika so dangerous, again, is her reach, and Ieyasu just does not have the right tools to combat that. He's trying to fight somebody who has guns with his fists. So, I mean, he's not even bringing the knife to the proverbial gunfight. So we definitely have to go back and get some more health, or at least enough Basara gauge to use our Basara attack one more time against him. We also have Handa Tadakatsu on the map, as you'd expect. If I were to go back and capture some more of the camps, I would probably weaken her a little bit. But yeah, everything's fine. I should be able to take her out, no problem. She's pretty low on health now. She has a couple different attacks, including she has pistols, which are fire elemental. She has a shotgun. She has grenades that she throws. And I don't know if she has them unlocked at this level, but she also has a machine gun and a rocket launcher. She has everything, and she can do a dash forward at us and switch back to her pistols, which will be showing off later in the game when we inevitably play as her.
Ieyasu Tokugawa, we hereby join you in alliance. Hear us now! We are the Saika faction! The red bell rings! The pact we have made shall be known to all! Let it toll! Let the bell call out across the land!
Magoichi, may I ask you a question?
Go on.
It's Mitsunari. I thought he might have... Mitsunari... You came to the Saika, as I did.
None of that matters anymore.
Prepare yourself, Ieyasu. I'm going to kill you here and now! But you, Magoichi Saika, you stay out of this.
You forget this is our land, and you are an intruder. Leave. I shall teach him some manners.
I can't.
Do not mistake my demand for kindness. This is our land, and we'll defend it.
Of course. Next time.
Ieyasu, don't you dare run away! Ieyasu!
Alright, so at the end of every fight we get plenty of loot, we get some new equipment, and our character levels up exponentially. I'll be showing off what some of this stuff does later in the game. It talks a little bit about what accessories do right there, but I'm only really concerned, again, about the stuff that increases your stats. I'll be talking about some of this stuff, but again, it's the same thing as the previous games in the series where I don't focus on it too much, even though I can read what everything is now and focus a little bit more about it. So we get a new ally, which I'll be showing off in the next video as well.